Hello Golden State Warriors fans. We are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Draymond Green calls out Warriors players for personal agendas, and Jimmy Butler agrees. Draymond Green didn't hold back when addressing what he believes is going wrong with the Golden State Warriors championship pursuit, and interestingly, Jimmy Butler completely agreed. The Warriors have fallen short of the lofty expectations many had for them entering this NBA season. After a strong 5-1 start, Golden State has stumbled to an even 6-6 record, losing the spark that once made them title favorites. Their recent loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder was especially concerning, a game that exposed just how far this team has drifted from championship form. It's an unsettling pattern that echoes last season, when the Warriors also started strong before fading mid-year. Ironically, things only began to turn around once Jimmy Butler joined the team, bringing energy, accountability, and a renewed focus on winning. Now, both Butler and Green are sounding the alarm again. Speaking to the media after the brutal loss to OKC, Draymond Green was as candid as ever. He said the team's mentality has changed since Butler's arrival last season, and not in a good way. "I think everyone was committed to winning after the Butler trade last year, willing to do whatever it took," Green said. Right now, that doesn't seem to be the case. Green didn't stop there. "Everyone in this league has a personal agenda, and that's fine. But you have to make your agenda fit within the team's goals. If it doesn't, then eventually that agenda will be the reason someone gets moved. You've got to decide what matters more, your stats or winning." When asked about Green's comments, Jimmy Butler didn't shy away, he doubled down. "I think he's right, at least to some extent," Butler admitted in the locker room. "We need to get back to doing whatever it takes to win. Everyone's going to have to sacrifice something. I can't say what that looks like for each guy, but it has to happen. Winning is the only thing that matters right now." The message from the veterans is loud and clear. The younger players need to rise to the occasion, show hunger, and commit to the team's bigger picture. Even head coach Steve Kerr has recently voiced frustration with the younger core's lack of grit and focus. With the team hovering around .500, the time for reflection might be over. It may be time for a hard conversation inside the Warriors locker room about what it truly takes to win again. The growing tension within the Warriors locker room has become impossible to ignore. Sources close to the team suggest that the frustration isn't just limited to Green and Butler. Several veterans have quietly questioned the focus and consistency of some of the younger players, who were expected to take on larger roles this season. The internal divide seems to stem from conflicting priorities. While veterans like Green, Butler, and Stephen Curry are focused on maximizing the team's championship window, some of the younger core appear more concerned with individual performance and future contracts. That imbalance has reportedly caused rifts in team chemistry, a recurring issue that's plagued Golden State since their dynasty years began to fade. According to multiple reports, team meetings in recent weeks have become increasingly intense, with several players speaking up about accountability and effort. One source described the atmosphere as tense but necessary, suggesting that the group is confronting hard truths rather than ignoring them. On the court, the results reflect that internal friction. Golden State's ball movement, once their defining trademark, has slowed noticeably. Their assist numbers have dipped compared to past seasons, and defensive rotations have lacked the cohesion that once made them elite. The Warriors currently rank near the middle of the league in defensive efficiency, a sharp contrast to the top 5 defense that helped them win titles. Jimmy Butler's presence, which was initially viewed as a stabilizing force, now carries even more weight. Known across the league for his no-nonsense leadership style, Butler has made it clear that winning takes priority over personal accolades. His alignment with Green's criticism sends a strong message to the rest of the roster. There's no room for complacency. Head coach Steve Kerr, meanwhile, faces the difficult task of restoring unity. He's publicly acknowledged the team's struggles, but stopped short of directly calling out individuals. Instead, Kerr emphasized the need for collective responsibility and trust in the system, noting that championship teams are built on selflessness and effort, not ego. Front office executives are said to be monitoring the situation closely. With the trade deadline still months away, there's speculation that the organization could make roster adjustments if internal issues persist. Several analysts have pointed out that the Warriors' championship window is closing fast, and this season may represent their last real chance to contend with their current core. For now, the message from inside the locker room is consistent: rediscover the hunger, or risk watching the season slip away. The Warriors have been through adversity before: injuries, roster changes, public criticism, but what they face now is different. This isn't about talent or experience, it's about identity. Whether they can regain the unity and purpose that once defined them could determine not just the outcome of the season, but the future of the franchise itself. Golden State Warriors exposed by the Oklahoma City Thunder in a humiliating 24-point loss. Are they still title contenders? The Golden State Warriors were completely dismantled by the Oklahoma City Thunder in a stunning 126-102 blowout, and it happened even without OKC's Jalen Williams on the floor. What made it worse? Stephen Curry returned from injury, and it still wasn't close. Now sitting at an even 6-6 record, the Warriors look like a team struggling to find rhythm, consistency, and identity. Once seen as legitimate championship contenders, this latest defeat painted a very different picture, one of a proud franchise losing its edge while a hungry Thunder squad showcased everything Golden State lacks right now. Before the game, head coach Steve Kerr admitted his team needed to improve as the season progressed. After this performance, it's clear that improvement isn't just needed, it's urgent. Kerr has recently called out his younger players for a lack of competitive spirit. But against Oklahoma City, that fight was missing across the board, from veterans to rookies alike. The Warriors looked lifeless, disorganized, and outmatched from the opening tip. The Thunder, on the other hand, looked every bit like a rising powerhouse. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the charge with 28 points and 11 assists, controlling the game effortlessly. Rookie big man Chet Holmgren added 23 points and 11 rebounds, proving once again that his presence is changing OKC's ceiling. Even A.J. Mitchell came off the bench with energy, chipping in 17 points and helping bury Golden State early. For the Warriors, the numbers tell the story of a long night. Stephen Curry, in his highly anticipated return, scored just 11 points on 4 of 13 shooting, including a rough 1-for-5 from 3. Jimmy Butler struggled as well, finishing with only 12 points despite drawing 8 free throws. Jonathan Kuminga was the lone bright spot, leading the team with 13 points on efficient 6 of 9 shooting. But beyond that, there was little to celebrate. The loss raised an uncomfortable question: are the Warriors truly contenders anymore, or just clinging to their past glory? After starting the season hot at 5-1, Golden State has now dropped 5 of its last 6 games, with their only win coming against the Indiana Pacers. The same troubling trend from last season appears to be repeating: early promise, followed by inconsistency, frustration, and decline. If that pattern continues, change might be inevitable. Rumors around the league have already begun to swirl, suggesting that the Warriors could explore trade options to shake up the roster. Jonathan Kuminga, who's been one of the team's few bright spots this season, could become a valuable trade asset if Golden State decides to make a bold move for a starting caliber center, something they've desperately needed since their championship run began to fade. Right now, the Warriors don't look like a team ready to chase another title. They look like a group searching for answers, and time may be running out to find them. Inside the Warriors' locker room, the mood after the loss was tense. Players spoke quietly, veterans kept to themselves, and the usual energy that once defined Golden State's culture seemed absent. Reporters described the atmosphere as heavy, a clear reflection of a team that knows it has fallen short of its own standards. Stephen Curry, typically the steady voice of optimism, was visibly frustrated. In his post-game comments, he emphasized accountability and urgency. "We know what we're capable of," Curry said. "But right now, we're not playing like it. There's no magic fix. It's about effort, focus, and commitment on both ends of the floor. Until we find that, we're going to keep getting the same results." Head coach Steve Kerr echoed Curry's concerns. He admitted that the team lacks the defensive intensity and ball movement that once made the Warriors so dangerous. "We're not connected," Kerr said. "There's too much isolation, too many possessions where the ball stops. Defensively, we're not communicating or rotating with urgency. Those are habits that take discipline, and right now we don't have enough of it." Analysts across the league were quick to react. Several pointed out that Golden State's problems run deeper than just shooting or rotations. ESPN's Tim Legler noted that the Warriors no longer impose fear on opponents, a sharp contrast to their dynasty years when even a small run could demoralize teams. Others highlighted the lack of size and athleticism as a major concern. Against Oklahoma City, the Warriors were out-rebounded 56-39 and allowed 52 points in the paint. The Thunder's young core exploited every mismatch, exposing how vulnerable Golden State has become inside. League insiders have also started questioning whether the front office might have to make difficult roster decisions. With an aging core, limited cap flexibility, and a roster that hasn't evolved alongside the league's faster, more athletic style, the Warriors face an identity crisis. The addition of Jimmy Butler was meant to re-establish toughness and leadership, but so far, the results have been mixed. Several rival executives believe Golden State could soon be forced to test the trade market. Jonathan Kuminga's name continues to surface as a potential trade chip, along with other bench players who could help land a more reliable frontcourt presence. Some insiders even speculate that the organization might explore a structural reset if the current formula continues to fail. Yet, for all the speculation, the Warriors insist that their belief in this group remains intact. Draymond Green, never one to shy away from confrontation, offered a blunt perspective after the loss. "We've been here before," Green said. "The difference is, in the past, we responded. We played with pride, we played for each other. That's what's missing right now. It's not about talent, it's about will." The message from within the locker room is clear. The Warriors dynasty won't be remembered for how it began, but for how it ends. And right now, that ending feels uncertain. As the schedule toughens over the next few weeks, every game could determine the team's direction, whether they regroup and reignite their championship DNA, or face the reality that their era of dominance may finally be slipping away. NBA legend Charles Oakley recently shared some blunt thoughts about Draymond Green, making it clear he doesn't believe the Golden State Warriors forward would have survived in the league during the 1990s. Known for his own toughness and no-nonsense attitude while starring for the Chicago Bulls and New York Knicks, Oakley didn't hold back when comparing eras. During an appearance on The Art of Dialogue, Oakley explained that Green's fiery personality and on-court antics simply wouldn't have been tolerated back in his day. "The things he gets away with now, I know for sure I couldn't have done them back then," Oakley said. "When you're winning and you're part of a great organization, you can afford to act that way. But in our time, there were real enforcers in the league." Despite the criticism, Oakley made it clear he respects Green's accomplishments and his role in building one of the NBA's modern dynasties. "I give him credit, he's tough. I watched him play back in college at Michigan State, and I could tell he had a different kind of mentality. He's strong-minded, he plays hard, and he's smart enough to push limits. But he's playing in the perfect era for that." When asked if Green's aggressive, confrontational style would have translated to the 1990s, Oakley didn't hesitate. "There were no fake tough guys back then," he said. "Draymond wouldn't be doing what he's doing now. That style doesn't fit the 90s. Somebody would have checked him early, maybe even punched him in the mouth. It would have been painful for him." Even with that tough assessment, Oakley made sure to acknowledge what Green has accomplished in today's game. "Look, it works for him now," he said. "He's found success, he's got the rings, and he's helped his team win. But that doesn't mean it would have worked in our era. The game was different, tougher, more physical, and a lot less forgiving." Oakley's comments quickly sparked debate across the NBA community, igniting yet another round in the long-running then versus now conversation. Within hours of his interview circulating online, current and former players began weighing in, some agreeing that the league has softened over the years, while others defended Green and the evolution of the modern game. Former Warriors forward Matt Barnes, who played alongside Green during Golden State's 2017 title run, pushed back on Oakley's remarks during a segment on ESPN radio. "People always talk about the 90s like it was the Wild West," Barnes said. "But Draymond's built for that kind of competition. He's not afraid of contact or confrontation. The guy would have fit in anywhere because he competes at the highest level." Others, however, sided with Oakley's perspective. Charles Barkley, another outspoken legend of that era, echoed similar sentiments during Inside the NBA. "Back in our day, there was a different kind of respect," Barkley said. "You couldn't talk to referees or opponents the way Draymond does now. You'd get checked real quick." Barkley was quick to add that he respects Green's basketball IQ and leadership, but insisted that the 90s were about backing it up physically, not just emotionally. Around the league, the discussion also turned toward how the NBA's rule changes have transformed the definition of toughness. Analysts pointed out that the game's pace, spacing, and emphasis on skill have replaced much of the raw physicality that defined Oakley's era. Draymond's defensive versatility, his ability to guard 5 positions and orchestrate rotations, might not have been fully appreciated in a slower, more post-dominated league. Meanwhile, Green has yet to respond publicly to Oakley's comments, but those close to him suggest he's not surprised. A Warriors insider told The Athletic that Green takes pride in being polarizing and views criticism from former players as a sign that he's doing something right. Despite the generational divide, both Oakley and Green represent two sides of the same basketball coin, players who lead with emotion, demand accountability, and embody the edge that separates stars from champions. The difference, as many fans noted online, is that Green's fire burns in an era where passion is policed differently. Whether Oakley's assessment is fair or not, it reignited a conversation about how basketball's culture has evolved, and what kind of toughness the modern NBA truly rewards. Jimmy Butler's dinner plans might hold the key to the Warriors' future success. Jimmy Butler continues to make an impact for the Golden State Warriors, not just with his play, but with his leadership beyond the court. While the team has struggled recently, Butler has quietly taken young forward Jonathan Kuminga under his wing, revealing after Sunday's win over the Indiana Pacers that he invited the 21-year-old to dinner to lift his spirits. It had been a rough night for Kuminga, arguably his toughest game of the season. He finished with only 5 points on 149 shooting and was benched for the final 18 minutes of the 114-83 victory. Instead of criticizing him, Butler chose connection over confrontation, recognizing the value of support during a difficult stretch. According to Nick Friedell of The Athletic, Butler's mentorship has become a central piece of Kuminga's development, and a quiet factor in the Warriors' long-term plans. Butler said he'd be inviting Kuminga to his house for dinner after the game, Friedell wrote. He's grown close to the fifth-year forward since arriving last season and wants to do whatever he can to help him regain confidence after a tough stretch. When the Warriors traded for Butler last season, expectations were straightforward: bring in a proven star who could lighten the load on Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. What they gained instead was a deeply invested leader, one who knows how to balance accountability with empathy. Butler has faced scrutiny over his leadership style throughout his career, but in Golden State, he's shown a softer, more patient side that the young core desperately needed. Having a veteran like Butler guiding him could make all the difference for Kuminga. Once seen as a raw project, the former number 7 pick had started the season strong, carving out a consistent starting role before his recent slump. Now, as his shooting numbers dip, Butler's encouragement, publicly defending him in post-game interviews and privately inviting him to dinner, sends a powerful message. Development takes time, and every star needs someone to believe in them during the lows. For years, analysts have debated Golden State's so-called two-timeline dilemma, the challenge of maintaining their veteran core while grooming the next generation. Questions persist about how long the old guard can compete and whether the younger players can eventually carry the dynasty forward. But gestures like Butler's offer hope. They suggest that the bridge between generations isn't as fragile as once thought, that culture and mentorship might be the glue holding the team's future together. Kuminga's story isn't finished yet, but if he turns things around, moments like this dinner could be seen as the turning point. In acquiring Butler, the Warriors didn't just add another all-star. They found a mentor who understands that winning starts long before the ball tips. Sometimes, it starts over a simple meal between teammates. Inside the Warriors' locker room, Butler's gesture didn't go unnoticed. Several teammates reportedly praised his quiet leadership, with Stephen Curry later telling reporters that Butler's influence has already changed the tone of how veterans interact with younger players. Jimmy's been through every kind of season, the highs, the lows, the pressure, Curry said. When a guy like that takes time to mentor a young player, it means something. It sets a standard for the rest of us. Head coach Steve Kerr also acknowledged the impact Butler has made since joining the team. He highlighted how Butler's mix of intensity and empathy has begun to reshape the team's culture. He's demanding, but he's fair, Kerr said. He'll get on guys when they need it, but he also knows when to pick them up. For a young player like Kuminga, that balance is invaluable. Jimmy brings an edge, but he also brings perspective, and that's exactly what this group needs. Behind the scenes, sources close to the organization have described a growing chemistry between Butler and the Warriors' younger core, Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Brandon Podziemski in particular. Butler has reportedly been spending more time with them off the court, offering advice on film study, recovery routines, and mental preparation. For players still learning how to navigate the weight of expectations in a championship-caliber environment, that kind of mentorship can be transformative. Analysts around the league are starting to take notice as well. On NBA Today, former player Richard Jefferson called Butler's presence the best thing that could have happened to Golden State's development cycle, adding that what he's doing for Kuminga could end up extending the Warriors' window by 2 or 3 years. The ripple effects are already visible. Kuminga, despite his recent slump, has maintained a more composed and reflective tone in interviews. Rather than showing frustration, he's acknowledged the value of patience and learning. "Jimmy's been in my ear," he said after a recent practice. "He tells me to focus on the next play, not the last one. That's something I'm trying to carry with me every game." For a team searching to balance its championship ambitions with long-term growth, Butler's influence could be the missing ingredient. The Warriors' dynasty was built on selflessness, trust, and accountability, traits that sometimes fade with time and success. Butler's arrival has revived that spirit, reminding everyone that greatness isn't only about stats or rings, but about the relationships that sustain a team through its toughest moments. If Golden State finds its rhythm again, the seeds of that resurgence may trace back to something simple: a veteran's willingness to sit down with a struggling young player, share a meal, and remind him that every journey, even in the NBA, begins with belief. Basketball: Al Horford and Jimmy Butler, the duo the Warriors didn't know they needed. The Golden State Warriors may have finally found the perfect frontcourt partner for Al Horford, but it's up to Steve Kerr to keep them on the floor together more often. After weeks of inconsistency, Horford rediscovered his offensive rhythm in Golden State's dominant 114-83 win over the Indiana Pacers. Horford dropped 12 points, grabbed 4 rebounds, and swatted 3 shots, his best performance yet in a Warriors uniform. He went 4 for 6 from deep, reminding everyone why the team believed his versatility could elevate their offense. Beyond the scoring, he challenged 11 shots, holding Pacers players to just 5 makes. It was a masterclass in two-way efficiency, and the Warriors finally saw flashes of the veteran leader they hoped to get. But what really unlocked Horford's game wasn't just confidence, it was chemistry. His newfound connection with Jimmy Butler is changing the way Golden State flows on both ends of the floor. Butler assisted on 4 of Horford's buckets, showing an instinctive feel for finding the big man in rhythm. The two veterans seem to read each other effortlessly. Butler drives, Horford spaces. Butler cuts, Horford rotates. That intuitive synergy brought life back to Horford's offense after a slow start to the season. After the game, Horford credited Butler directly for helping him find his groove. "Jimmy made it clear early on that he wanted to get me involved," Horford said. "He was driving, kicking, and constantly encouraging me to shoot. The passes were right there, and that gave me confidence again. On defense, I'm just trying to bring more energy, stay active, and figure out how to help this team." Still, there's one glaring issue: Kerr hasn't used them together nearly enough. Of Horford's 150 total minutes this season, he's shared the floor with Butler for only 78 of them. That means nearly half of his time has come without his most effective partner. For a duo showing this much promise, that's a mistake the Warriors can't afford to keep making. Horford arrived in the Bay with expectations of being a stabilizing veteran presence, someone who could help anchor another championship run. Now that Golden State may have found a formula that works, one that pairs Horford's steadiness with Butler's fire, Kerr's next move is simple: play them together, and let the chemistry do the rest. The growing partnership between Horford and Butler has sparked quiet optimism inside the Warriors' locker room. Teammates have started to notice how the energy shifts whenever the two veterans share the floor. The offense feels steadier, the ball moves with more purpose, and the defense communicates better. Their presence brings a sense of maturity that Golden State has been missing amid the inconsistency of its younger core. Coaches have highlighted their complementary styles. Horford's ability to stretch the floor forces defenders out of the paint, giving Butler more space to attack downhill. Meanwhile, Butler's aggressiveness on drives creates easy catch-and-shoot looks for Horford, a rhythm he thrives on. It's a simple formula, but one built on trust and timing, something the Warriors haven't fully capitalized on yet. Analysts around the league have begun to take notice as well. Former players have praised the duo's chemistry, pointing out that their leadership and composure could be the stabilizing force Golden State desperately needs. With the Western Conference tighter than ever, consistency will determine who separates from the pack, and that's where veterans like Horford and Butler become invaluable. However, time is not on their side. Both players are on the wrong side of 30, and managing minutes while keeping chemistry intact will be a challenge. Steve Kerr faces the delicate task of balancing rest with repetition, ensuring that the bond between Horford and Butler continues to grow without overextending them physically. If Kerr can strike that balance, the Warriors might just have found the key to reigniting their championship identity, not through flash or star power, but through discipline, intelligence, and two veterans who understand the game's rhythm better than most.